Of course, there's zero evidence that President Biden had anything to do with this prosecution.
Yeah. Do you think a guilty verdict, or for that matter, a hung jury, would hurt the former president politically? I mean, nothing else seems to. The latest polls from the New York Times show him ahead of President Biden in a bunch of key swing states.
You know, in the last year, we've had indictments, we've had wars, we've had foreign policy crisis. The polls haven't changed. So I don't think anybody can say with much confidence. I think a hung jury, if anything, would probably help him. But weirdly enough, that the race just seems to be stuck in a place, and it's been stuck there for a while. I don't know. All predictions that things would change have been futile so far. But all I can tell you is I don't know. But I think a hung jury would help him. I do. I think give him more enthusiasm. He's drawing these huge crowds, and it's quite concerning out there.
And Trump has so directly tried to say that this is Biden's trial, even though it's obviously not.
And I think I agree that the president should stay away from it, shouldn't comment on it. But right now, he's got to try to move some numbers here. These polls are stuck in a ditch, and they've been that way for a while.
If the Access Hollywood tape didn't derail Trump's campaign in 2016, why would a case involving business records for the Stormy Daniels payoff derail his campaign in 2024?
I don't know, Anderson. It's a good question, and I can't pretend that I know the answer to. I don't think anybody else can pretend that they know the answer to it. You would think all of these indictments, you'd think the COVID response, you would think everything that had January the 6th, I was firmly convinced that it would be done in by January 6th. More people than ever think it's a tourist visit now. So I'm totally flummoxed as to how this thing stays the same. But I do know one thing: it just stays the same, and nothing. The more things happen, the more things stay the same. And Democrats are doing. The president's doing terrible with voters under 30, and with black voters, which are pretty key to this whole equation here. So hopefully, we can get something going here in the next 4 or 5 months. But right now, it's not looking that promising.
I wonder, I mean, now we kind of know, now we kind of know that this might be maybe the only trial that we see of Donald Trump this year. Is it time for Democrats to move on and look at the fundamentals of this race and not see these trials as somehow this X factor that's going to have a huge influence on how this thing turns out in November?
Yeah, I think that we have to, because the fundamentals right now, frankly, are depressing, and we have all of these events, and they change little or nothing. I mean, maybe there's some evidence that Trump might be 1.5 points or 2 points weaker than he was a year ago, but you have to really squint to see that happening. And I don't see the numbers for the president moving. Right now in the presidential race, this is a sticky wicket out there. That's all I can say. I really don't. I mean, what I'm hoping happens is recovery keeps going on, and it keeps digging deeper down, and people start feeling it. But right now, it's a recovery that people are denying that exists. And it's a good word as a recovery, because you have come back from something, so we should call it a recovery. But our economic messaging is not breaking through. It's been counterproductive so far.